This week on the Precursor Cast, we talk about, well, the Precursor Cast. What is it? What is it all about? Tess misses out on fractals, and we're going to figure out once and for all if Heart of Thorns is too hard. It's time to wind it up. It's the Precursor Cast. Welcome to the first ever Precursor Cast. In fact, we can call it the Precursor Cast. I think that's going to be the name of the show, the Precursor Cast. So my name is Boom, and I am joined by my two wonderful co-hosts, Tess and Militus. How are you guys? You guys are the big windows in the middle there. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Just great.
100% awesome.
Okay, so just to give you some background, Tess and I used to do this other podcast, and we've had Militus on that other podcast, and sometimes a certain other host that we had would just say, great. And then you just leave me hanging. That's all I'm saying.
No, but that's the effect. Come on, that's what you guys would do. You would leave him hanging. So we did the same to you.
It was very, very good introduction. So Tess, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What brings you to this crazy adventure of the Precursor Cast, which I'm going to probably say wrong about 4 times.
The Precursor Cast.
Right.
Cast.
Well, I'm just a crazy gamer lady. That's about it. And I'm weird. What do you want from me, Boom? You're looking at me.
You're
with
so much more interesting than that. Don't.
I'm not.
Come on.
I'll let my personality speak for itself as we continue along this.
This is my impression of Bear.
Stupid journey.
Your stupid journey. That's my impersonation.
What's that coming out of your camera there, Boom?
That was my impersonation of Bear. Here it goes. Here it goes again, Ray.
We're gonna have to let in the listeners in on all these inside jokes and people so that they can.
They're gonna get it eventually. They're gonna get it eventually. And well, Militus, give us a little background. How did you end up on this crazy, wonderful show?
Well, I just gotta say something first. I gotta say a shout out to all the veterans. We're recording on Veterans Day, so I'm sporting check it out, man. I'm sporting my Enterprise hat because I was lucky enough of a veteran to serve on the USS Enterprise. So big shout out to all my squid brothers in the Navy and all those people who give up years of their life to protect all of us. So thank you. I am just a middle-aged dad, teacher, person who loves to game in MMOs and play with other people and get to build relationships and all those fun things you do in online role-playing games. That's me. That's what I'm about, and I'm looking forward to talking about a lot of Guild Wars 2.
Well, I can't tell you how excited I am, by the way, for this specific podcast because it's going to be a lot of fun. We've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a little while, and that's really where my story begins. So my story humbly begins by listening to a crazy little podcast called the Wildstar Nation podcast, and in the course of listening to that podcast, I got to meet Militus in the process, and Tess I've known for many, many years, longer than that. And so we're super excited because if it wasn't for those events, we wouldn't be here. And I just am a fan of gaming and a fan of doing all this stuff. So I'm excited because I think this podcast can be a lot of fun because it's something we enjoy. And that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a new show on something, a specific game that I just really, really like and can kind of sink my teeth into and kind of learn. And that kind of brings me to, the first point of topic tonight, which I wanted to kind of just go over what this show is really supposed to be about. So Guild Wars 2 is not brand new. Guild Wars 2 has been out for a while. There are podcasts, great podcasts out there, by the way, fantastic ones that I listen to all the time, that are made for those people that play the game a lot and are really good at it. But there's a lot of new blood in this Guild Wars 2 game, including me. And we kind of and we wanted to kind of take it from a little bit more of a building up again from the start. So if you've never played Guild Wars 2, you can join in with us.
Just call us noobs.
We're noobs. We're Guild Wars noobs.
I don't like
We're Guild Wars noobs, but we're not necessarily MMO noobs.
No, we're MMO experienced.
There you go. And experience, when she means that, she doesn't mean Militus is a good player. She means he just has played a lot. He might have sucked along the way, but he's played a lot. Yeah.
Now let me just bring the listeners in with Militus's amazing heals, which are difficult to come by in Guild Wars 2 because it lacks the Trinity. But when Militus can, he drops some rainbow deer sprinkles.
I do moist rainbow deer sprinkles.
You can't leave out that adjective. Heal. Yes.
Well, and that's good because we've got a little bit more dedication now to dedicated healers in Guild Wars 2. So you're all set. You can just
hopefully so. Only time will tell, right? We'll probably have lots more conversations.
We're gonna have lots of conversations, I think, as we kind of do that. So just to kind of let everybody know, this is kind of something that we're talking about. We would like to build up a community. So we would really like, if you are a new player or an experienced player that thinks they want to just maybe come in and help people and just really kind of be a part of bringing up a new group, that's kind of what this podcast is all about. And so we want to, again, start fresh, learn new things. And, as people are participating, it's my goal anyway, that it's not always just the three of us on this podcast. These people that are experienced, I want to bring them on the show, let them kind of help us with some of the questions that we have as we're playing the game, and they can kind of come in and help guide. So if you're one of those players, we want you to kind of come on. We're looking for some extra hosting stuff. So when you're thinking, hey, maybe I'd like to, I got a week to spare and I'd like to come on, maybe that's something we can work out. So, we want to do all of those types of different things with you. So did you guys have anything to add to that before I move on?
Well, I think it's important that we mention that we are going to start fresh. As I punch my microphone. Take that microphone.
Punching is not something new for Tess.
No, I
prepare
punch
for
everything.
lots of more fighting and punching along the way.
Lots of anger.
But we are starting fresh. So we've just created a brand new guild. There's like 5 members of it. Because we want to just, when we say we want to build a community, we are dead serious. We want to start from scratch and build it up. And do awesome guild things.
People that like to play, like that's kind of what we're about. We're a little bit less about picking on it and more about finding the good things that we can do together to play as a community. And really, what we've learned in all of our days of MMOs is MMOs are only fun when you get to play in groups of people. It's just a lot more entertaining. That's what we want it to be for you. So if you're one of those players and you're like, it's pretty fun, but it's not great, maybe you just haven't played with the right group of people, and maybe we can help. So,
we are that group.
We are definitely that group.
We are that group.
And I would say, too, to add on to what you guys are talking about is, this game, and I know people were going to hear me say this, go, oh, Militus and his typical hyperbole, blah, 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 blah. But I'm serious about this. Like, this has the best community of any MMO I've ever been a part of. And what I mean by the best community, I'm not talking about skill players, although we have great skill players in the Guild Wars 2 community. What I mean is, it just feels like a more mature, refined, polished, nurturing, caring community. Absolutely. Like from the podcasts, that are out there, the Relics of Ore and the Guild Wars Reporters, and then just the entire community, Wooden Potatoes on YouTube, all these people that produce content. They're wonderful people. Right. And so I think part of, at least my perspective of us entering this content creation is fitting in that community, right? Being a part of it, because I want to contribute to the community as much as I get from it, right? Because I get a lot from it, I think. And then along with that, I think our style, at least, we do come from a guild of people called the dirty casuals for a reason, in that we're not hardcore players. Don't get me wrong. We want to be skilled and we want to have fun, and we want to learn fights. We want to do well.
We want to complete. We're completionists.
Yeah, we're completionists. But I think the relationships, as you guys have already touched on, with people is like paramount to us. We have so much more fun when there's people that, honestly, I talk to you guys. I was thinking about this today. I talk to the people I game with more than I do some of my own flesh and blood family. I mean, I'll be honest with you.
That's probably true, actually. I haven't really thought of that, but I'm probably
like
in the
my
same boat.
brother.
Yeah.
My brother lives in Texas. I live in Eastern Tennessee. And I talk to him once or twice a week, and I'm thinking, I talk to these people daily.
Right.
I talk to them more than I do my own brother. So fitting in the community, building relationships, having fun, not being so hardcore, like WildStar hardcore necessarily, that it defeats the purpose. That's what I had to add, Boom. Sorry.
Well, and I'm going to jump on that too. I absolutely agree that Guild Wars has an amazing community, and I think a big part of that is in the way that it was created. I'm sure that a billion people have talked about some of the major differences that Guild Wars has from other MMOs.
Right.
But since this is a podcast by noobs for noobs, I thought I'd touch on one of those. And probably the biggest one is how Guild Wars actively encourages you to work with other players. You can res anybody at any time, pretty much, and everybody can. And so when you see other people coming along in other MMOs, you're like, oh God, don't come and gank don't tag this kill that I've been waiting for to respawn. You see other people come and you're like, hooray, more people. And it makes it, no one's can ninja nodes or chests or anything like that.
Right.
And loot's personalized too.
Yeah. So nobody can, it already has that community built into the actual game, which I think then makes content creation more inclusive as well, because it just speaks to those people more.
Absolutely.
The design is, it's so good, right? On so many levels. And and I promise I'll shut up, Boom. But one more thing about I hear this a lot about Guild Wars 2, and I wanted to speak to this tonight. When I first started playing Guild Wars 2, I don't feel like I reached a certain maturity in my MMO gaming life. Mm-hmm. I was playing WoW, and I was the kind of player that, wanted the best loot and wanted to raid and wanted to node steal, wanted to do all the things that Guild Wars 2 didn't necessarily cater to. And I didn't like it. I'll be honest with you. I bought it on launch. And I played it. I went, what the hell? My skills changed when I changed weapons? Oh, I don't like this. What is this dodging? I don't like this. What are these telegraphs? I don't like this. I wanted tab targeting. I wanted wow. Oh, cool. You got the original Guild Wars.
I have the original one. But I did the same thing. I loaded it up and I was like, psh, what is this? Yeah.
But I think, for people, and we play with people like this, who are like, well, Guild Wars isn't for me because all these things. You just need to give it a little time.
Right.
Because it took some time, and it took friends. Like, it took time. I was playing a long time. I was trying to get you guys to play with me. Tess, you were getting a new machine, and Boom was playing WildStar, I think, at the time. And then I kind of fell off playing by myself. But when you guys got back into the game with me, I had so much more fun because the way it's designed. And lastly, I just reject this argument people make about Guild Wars 2. In that it's Zerg. Have you guys heard this before?
Right.
No.
Yeah. Right.
Oh yeah.
Well, you get that from kind of the world bosses, right? That's how they feel it's that way.
Well, the events, the dungeons, PvP in World v World. One of the first things I heard is it's just a big Zerg. It's just a big Zerg. And I thought about that in the beginning. I'm like, well, I guess it sort of is, and I don't see a role for the Trinity. But then the more I played, the Zerg isn't a bad thing.
No.
The Zerg is a good thing because it means you're playing with other people.
Right.
It's like, you give up certain things to have that in game design, but Guild Wars 2 does such a great job at that. And like you said, Tess,
but the mechanics
I don't
are
consider
just
that
different.
a bad thing.
No.
I don't consider that a bad thing at all.
And I think what you lose in quote unquote boss mechanics maybe I should say traditional boss mechanics. You get in other types of boss mechanics. You get it in a lot of chaining of abilities, which kind of reminds me of like a secret world situation where you have to chain those vulnerability and different types of things to get additional bonuses and buffs and yeah, you're right in that it absolutely goes away from quote unquote traditional mechanics to introduce other mechanics. And from the standpoint of someone just coming in who's used to those traditional mechanics, it can be alien to the point that it turns you off. Right. But give it a shot. And I think that you're right too, Militus. I do think it is for a certain level. I don't want to say a level of maturity because then that suggests that people who don't play it or who don't like it are immature. But it does take a different mindset of player to, I think, maybe to enjoy it.
And when I speak, I'm glad you mentioned that. When I speak to that, what I mean for me is in my gaming life, not my physical maturity or even my psychological maturity, but more so like in the amount of years I've gamed. Early on, I liked a certain style of game because it really appealed to me. And as I played more and more and I changed, and that's what I mean by my maturity, I changed in my style of gaming. Right. This just fits me better now in my lifestyle, in my play style, in my goals of having fun. Whereas something like hardcore raiding doesn't fit me.
So what happened to your ability level? I mean, it just went like this.
It was never there to begin with. See, it was always hardcore. Down here. You're getting it wrong. And it just stayed flat the entire time.
Well, hey, at least you're not pulling. I'm so glad there aren't DPS meters in Guild Wars 2, or else you would hear nothing except for Boom lamenting the DPS meter. Why is my
I gotta actually say though, on that same note though, because you joke about it, but those damn meters in WoW ruined me because I was actually raiding with a team and I'm having fun and I was healing, and when I was like 5th on the healing meter, so out of 5 I was the lowest healer, it like affected me to the point where I was like, I don't even want to play anymore. We could down bosses with me being the 5th best healer, but it didn't matter anymore. I was the 5th best healer, and I was like, I'm just not good enough for this team. They'd be better off without me. If they just got rid of me, then they would be better. So yeah, those stupid meters ruin me.
Although I do wonder. I do like to theory craft a little bit. So I do kind of like, man, when I pull my greatsword.
I know you're wondering if you are the best DPS. I know you are, but we all know I am. So it's all.
You just wonder how you can get better. I mean, there are theory crafting sites. I mean, you can pull logs from your data. But I was watching another kind of pitch, if you will, for people who are considering Guild Wars 2. By the way, it is free to play, so you have absolutely nothing.
No, it's free.
I mean, the base game.
Yeah, you can go. There's not a single game out there that gives you more content for free than this game.
No.
When you just download it, there's not another game. I've played them all. Not even close.
But we've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a while, several months, and I was watching a WoW video the other day, and I literally felt overwhelmed with the stimulation because of the UI. I just like started grabbing my face.
It is kind of nice.
I was like, oh my God, I'm so glad that we don't have this in Guild Wars 2, because the DPS meters and the boss timers and the threat meter. And it's just like, you couldn't even see the actual game. It was just covered and stuff. And that's not me hating on WoW. Please don't,
No, it's
I know we got people in our guild that's going to love WoW. Right. It's how much I love Guild Wars 2. It's not so much how much I despise WoW. It's just I like that they keep the interface clean and simple, and you don't have to worry about those kind of things. It's great.
Well, on that note,
keep us moving, Boom.
I'm working on it.
Because Militus and I'll just talk all day.
I will derail us in a second.
So you know how it is. You know how it is with me. There's always I always have some. So I try to do the smooth transition. I try to do all this stuff, and then I have some technical glitch. So I hit the button and nothing happens. And then I'm like, okay, what the. Yeah. Anyway, so
we'll just talk until
that is that sound. That sound means we're gonna do the moment of Zen. Are you guys excited? You want to hear it? I'll let you hear it one more time. Okay,
do it
ready?
one more time.
Okay, here we go. Okay, that's the moment of Zen. The moment of Zen is where we're each going to take a couple minutes, just real quick, and just in this last week, we always play together on Tuesdays, and other days as well. But Tuesdays is our formal day. We get together and we play, and so we just going to use this moment of Zen to real quick talk about something Zenful that you had happen this week in Guild Wars 2. Tess, kick us off.
I got my, again, I'm so showing how horrible I am of a gamer, but I got my updrafts.
Awesome.
That is a big
awesome
feat. Did you do what I did? So when I got updraft, the very minute I got that ability, I just flew around for like 3 hours. I just went from draft to draft to draft on the whole mount. I didn't even care about doing anything else. Yep. I just went from draft to draft.
Because I screwed up and I didn't understand how mastery is unlocked when HOTS dropped, and so I screwed around and did way too much stuff off of the main story mastery because I really wanted to get legendary precursor stuff. So I just now unlocked updrafts, and I just probably flew around for like you said, probably a good 90 minutes. I didn't do anything.
No,
you
don't do anything. Events. There's no progress. There's nothing. You're just like, this is just such a great mechanic. Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah, there's my thing.
That's your Zen moment. Your Zen moment.
So awesome.
How about you, Militus? What was your Zen moment?
My moment of Zen is both my moment of great anguish and moment of great happiness. In that,
this is so funny.
I bought season 1, Guild Wars 2 had the main story for the base game, which you, by the way, can play all the way through, and not. Again, because there might be new players, I don't want to talk about specifics of the story. Right. I don't want to ruin it. And you guys haven't done it, so I don't want to ruin it for you.
No.
But I've been working my way through. Of course, I've done all of Living World 1 season, which you
awesome.
defeat, which is awesome. You defeat kind of a major boss at the end of it, and it's incredible, and the story's great. But let me just say this. The story in Living World Season 2 is even better. Okay, to set the stage for my moment of Zen, let me just say this. Let's see, Sunday night, I worked my way up until nearly the last quest of season 2, okay? And I had to go to sleep because I knew I had to get up to work the next day. So I go to bed, and the whole day at work, guys, I am chomping at the bit. Like, I cannot wait to get home from work. I know that I'm going to beat my wife and kids home from school. I'm going to have about an hour and a half window that's just my time. I'm like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get home. So I get home, I load up my computer. That tells you the story is good, that I'm anticipating it all day. Right. So I get home, and I go through the first parts of this last quest, and I'm like, it's amazing. I'm watching all the story. I'm like, even parts of it, I'm like, no, this can't be happening.
Right.
And then this boss comes out and kicks Militus straight in the ass for 60 plus attempts.
For pretty much the entire time.
It was so bad.
And we can attest to this. The thing that what makes this so damn funny on our side is that Militus listeners, tens of listeners, is the sweetest, most even-keeled, positive person you'll ever meet in your entire life. And I had to miss our weekly get-together the week before, and because of a wedding and all this stuff. So I was really excited to get everybody together, last night. And right before we're all going to meet, right before our designated time, I get a text from Militus going, I am going to rage quit. I'm going to rage quit. I can't do this. I'm so angry.
I'm totally done. Never ever again.
And on. And then so I log in and I see him in guild, and he's like, I'm out. And he just leaves.
I'm out.
What?
I made the mistake of doing, okay, I went back in. I was fully prepared to play with you guys. I wiped the slate clean of all the wiping I'd done earlier against that boss. And I'm like, okay, have fun with my dirty casual people. It's going to be good. But before I do, I just need one more attempt at that boss. Just one. One turned into 20 plus.
That did you in.
and my heart rate accelerating, my blood pressure getting too high, and me saying, I think it's time for old Milla to check out for a little bit.
What's interesting about that whole story, though, is that for me at least, it's been my experience in Guild Wars 2, that those things don't happen as often as they do in other games. Like, I've not run across a wall where I just said, I can't get over this hurdle. Almost ever.
I was so shocked by that.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I was like, because you got to remember, like, I was telling you guys, I was so, engrossed in the story. And all I wanted was to tie a nice bow on my story. You know what I mean? I wanted the story to end and go on.
Right.
And then I got this big baddie in my face going, just beating poor Militus down over and over again. But anyways, it's don't let that deter you from living World Season 2, because the story's so good.
Yeah,
it's kind
of you can't let it beat you down. But there is probably a solution to this. The solution being, you may just have to play with some others.
Yeah,
and although you want to defeat it,
I would have pulled you guys in,
right.
And you offered. But my only problem is there's a cutscene before it that I don't want you two to see until you play all the way to it. You just don't need to see what you would see with me. So I'm just willing to wait until you guys decide to do it.
I can understand that. I can get that
because it's so good. I wouldn't want to deprive you of that. It's such a good story. Well, but what about you, Boom?
That was a really good Zen moment, Militus. I liked it. I had just about the most amazing week ever, pretty much. A little bit more than that, because we planned on doing this cast a little bit ago, and we just haven't gotten to it until today. Now we're going to start doing it weekly, and it's going to be cool, and we're all excited. But before we did that, I think it was 2 Tuesdays ago, we got to run fractals for the first time. And I had never run fractals. So we as a group, it was really fun. We went through every dungeon.
You and I.
Yeah. We as in you and I.
I don't believe you.
And MMO Bill, by the way, he
from MMO
us.
Reporter.
Joined us. Yeah, he joined us. So MMO Bill from MMO Reporter was in there with us. And so what we did is we ran these fractals. Now, our group had been running all the dungeons, so we had run through all the dungeons. It was kind of fun. We went through them as we were leveling, and we got a high enough level each time. We would then go run the dungeon that was kind of the appropriate dungeon level. It was really fun, and we went through it. And then fractals, we've always heard, are these forbidden things that are super hard. So we were all a little timid to jump into the fractal, but we jumped into the fractal, and we went to the first fractal we ran was called Urban Battleground, and you get turned into a char. And when you go into the fractal, there's all this hot lava and all this stuff, and we got our butts handed to us a little bit, I'm not going to lie, which a lot of people out there are going to laugh because it was a level 1 thing, but we just did not know what we were doing. Yeah, it did not. In fact, it was the hardest that we found that night, actually. It was kind of funny. But we beat it, and we were like, sweet. And then MMO Bill had to go, so we were like, well, we're going to run it with 4 people. So we went 4 people, and we did the Swampland Fractal. And that's really cool because there's like a cool puzzle piece to it. You have to solve like this puzzle as you go into it, and that was really fun. So we did that one, and then we did the Aquatic Ruins, which is all underwater. And my favorite part of that was when you went down into this tunnel, and you had to get these lights, and the lights would keep you alive. And I didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was awesome.
It was almost like you're carrying a torch, Tess.
Yeah,
like you would carry a torch to the water.
I don't believe you.
It'd be really cool if you got to do this.
That any of this happened.
And then
I don't believe you.
We did.
You're a liar.
We did the last one of the night was the hardest one, but it was called the Raving Asura, and there's a jumping puzzle in there, and there's some freaking stairs.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the stairs, Moses?
Yes, I do.
See, now
there's this set of stairs, and they have
video,
electrocuting.
You can see how Militus is pretending to agree with Boom. They're big liars. None of this happened.
I got the loot to prove it, girl.
Yeah,
we got lots of loots.
We got the mad loots.
I got the fat loots.
And so we were on those stairs for probably 45 minutes to an hour, I think.
Oh.
And before
trying
two
to
of
dodge
us,
that stuff, remember?
Yeah, enough of us got to the top to turn it off.
It's like a
Yes.
vertical frogger.
Oh, it's
You're like,
crazy. Yeah.
back and forth, trying to get up the stairs.
There's all these bars that are coming down at you, and you have to hop them, and you have to move around them, and it's so crazy. And then after you get through all of that, there's this huge jumping puzzle thing to get. You have to like not miss, and you have to fight bosses on the different or little baddies actually on each one of the little steps as you go around to get to the top. It was amazing fun. And I'm gonna post.
Zolderp was with us. He can prove it, Tess.
Zolderp was definitely there, and so was Mo,
aka Torn Bulge.
Torn Bulge. For those of you who you'll have to listen to.
You may know him better in the community as Torn Bulge.
You'll have to listen to one of our other podcasts to find out where he got that name, but it was really fun. I'm gonna actually so I posted a wiki article in our show notes, and I'm gonna put it in when I get this posted up on iTunes and all of those things. The wiki article on this is really cool because it does show you all 100 levels of the fractals, and it shows you what you need to have as far as that. Give me the name of the gear. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. It's drawn a blank. Tess knows what it is because she was the one that told me to go get the little gems and gem my ascended piece. Agony. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah.
So it shows you on that grid how much agony you need. And agony is like a stat. And so as the thing gets harder, you have to have more agony's resistance. Otherwise, you will just wipe and fail just like that. So that was my moment this week. And it was a great moment. So this is a little out of order, but I wanted to do it this way this week because I wanted you to get to know us before we told you how to reach us. But Tess, tell us tell everybody how they can reach us is what I was trying to say.
You can email us. I'm going to screw this all up. I'm just going to tell you right now. You can email us at precursorpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet us at PrecursorCast. You can come join our Facebook at facebook.com/PrecursorPodcast. You can call us. You can call us and leave us messages.
You can call
720.
This is the best part.
625.
Not that part, but this part.
1337.
Yes.
So
that right there.
Yeah,
Leet. 625 Leet. Huh? How is that? How is that? How did you do that?
Because that perfectly describes Militus's skill set.
Yes.
Leet.
I was like,
when I was
setting up that phone number, I said, I'm only taking it if it has Leet. And so I had to get a Las Vegas phone number. So it's 702, which is Las Vegas.
So you can call and leave us a message.
Yeah.
You can check out our website at pc.kindofabigdealgaming.com. And you can check out our Twitch at www.twitch.tv/PrecursorCast.
And we're going to have everything on everything all the time. So if you want to watch it, you can just go to the Facebook and see it. We'll post the show right after we're done with it on there. And you can watch it on YouTube, and you can go to iTunes, although it's going to take about a week or so for this to hit iTunes. It's just the process for a new stream. So it's going to take a couple of these shows probably before it's there. So if you're hearing this and it's weeks past, then yeah, that's okay. And I'll just play that because all right, there we go.
I love that.
All right.
That drives me nuts.
See, boom, we have to use it a lot more often.
How's that for an official news
That's
bulletin?
awesome.
I decided I was going to go pretty official with this podcast. I normally don't do these little bumpers, but I'm kind of into the bumpers. I'm not going to tell you. So I have, by the way, I've hired some sound help. So I'm doing some voiceover work. There's this website called Fiverr, and it's really cool. You go on this website, and there's all these talented people, and for $5 they'll do stuff. Not that type of stuff, Tess, but they'll just do stuff. So I went on there and I found some different voices. I'm going to let you guys hear them all, and they're going to do all of our bumpers and our intros and all that stuff. So I've got like an Australian voice, I've got, you know, an American voice, and so we're going to pick one of those voices, and then we're going to have them do our bumpers. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we should take a vote or something.
That's super fancy.
It's going to be really, really good. I'm excited about that because Fiverr. So go to Fiverr. It's kind of fun. You can just go on there and they'll do your answering machine message for you. Like if you want.
Who has an
cool.
answering machine anymore?
But you have like your voicemail.
Oh.
Right. And you want it not to sound like, hi, this is me, and leave me a message. And so instead you can have it be something cool. Like, I don't know, can be in Australian. All right. So there's that. So.
Oh my God.
So Militus, open us up with a bit of the news that you found this week.
Yeah, let's talk about some of this. So I guess the biggest article I came across was, and by the way, if you're a Guild Wars 2 player, one website, or you're new to Guild Wars 2, sorry, one website I find completely invaluable is Delphi.net.
Yeah. Right,
Delphi.net is they have SWTOR stuff there too, but their Guild Wars 2 coverage is great. Like they have a great news feed. They have guides, builds. They have lots of different resources there for new Guild Wars, well, for all Guild Wars 2 players, not just new players. But they posted an article today talking about the raid rewards. And for those of you who are new to Guild Wars 2 or even don't play and just listening for the first time, raids are a new thing for Guild Wars. They've never been in. In fact, I remember when the game launched, that was one of the things that turned me off a little bit. Boom. I was like, where's the raid?
Yeah,
where do I get my
hardcore,
elite Karazhan gear in this game?
Right. How am I going to get all the stuff and be better than everybody? Right.
And it wasn't there. And so I was a little turned off by that in the beginning. But in any case, they brought it in Heart of Thorns. It's going to launch November 17th. And it's called Spirit Veil, the first raid. And they're going to open up the initial wing of the raid in Guild Wars 2. I guess what I wanted to get you guys' thoughts about is, before we kind of get into more detail about this, what are your initial impressions about having raids in Guild Wars 2 after you've played it for several months and you've got a feel for how because like we've talked about, the game is not necessarily designed like a WoW, WildStar type game. What are your guys' thoughts about raids just being in the game first, and then we'll break down the rewards?
Well, I have always been interested in this, but at the same time, because I was just like you, I was like, it's missing it. So I was like, well, there's the dungeons, okay. And then they brought in raids, and I was thinking, okay, so it's a natural progression. But as I really got to play the game, a lot of these events feel like kind of like makeshift drop-in raids. So there's, you know, you got this event that starts, and then all of a sudden there's 5 people there, and then pretty soon there's 10 people there, and pretty soon there's 20 people at the event, and everybody's kind of working together to kill that event or do whatever kind of stuff. And in Hot, it even is more that way. Like it really feels like these events are like little chains, and they play out almost like little mini dungeons or raids back in the past, you know. And so part of me is like, well, I'm worried that it's going to go like that, like you were saying, the cool Karazhan gear is in this raid, and I have to raid in order to get the cool gear and be a cool kid. So that was my fear. And I know that they're going to have some legendary armor that you can only get through the raiding, so I'm not sure what that's going to do to my ability.
But the stats of that armor, we should say,
right,
will not be higher than the current like best gear that you could craft in the game.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's appearance based kind of a situation, which makes it a lot better, to be honest. Because if it was that gear treadmill, I would feel a lot of pressure to raid. And like you, raiding has always kind of been my wall. I can do it and I can enjoy it, but it does require a certain level of commitment and a certain level of dedication that I just don't have. So I don't have time to go watch all the videos and then go and game. Like my time is gaming. That's any free time I have, which is limited. I want to just play. So I don't always have the ability to do hardcore raiding. So it'll be interesting to see how this is. And they've promised that it's going to be hard, and it's going to be some of the hardest content that they've ever done, which is interesting because you're beating your head against content from the last thing. And so I'm
beating my head against story content.
And something we're going to talk about later is about how hard Hot is. You know, we're going to talk about that a little bit. So when I think about it being really hard, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'll ever be into the raiding scene in this game, but I would like to see it.
Well, and I'm a raider. I was for years and years and years and years. Milla, you and I, we have some conversations about the best raid ever created, Corazon.
That's right, Corazon.
And so for me, I think I kind of fell out of raiding for two reasons. One, some of the attitudes of the people I was raiding with, that was earlier. It was kind of like meet this or get punched in the face, and the stress was really, really bad. And then after that, it was just the content felt old. The raids I was getting just felt old, and I keep hitting my microphone. Poor Mike, get punched in the face, and the stress was. So we'll see what happens. It's a little. I have a feeling that this stuff with what we're doing is going to be fun rather than a grind. I would agree. Like, I'm excited to get into talking about rewards, because if it does turn into a slight grind where you're punching your face into a wall, the rewards are going to have to justify the effort placed. So it'll be an interesting balancing act. But as of this moment, with the dungeons I've seen, I'm stoked. I'm excited to see what they're going to look like.
And to your point, it probably will be fun, because there's not going to be like fights over who gets gear, or is the random number generator giving me the right number so that I get gear, or I ran it 5 times and I didn't get gear, because it's not as important. Like, you're going to want something.
Or what do the meters say? What do the meters say?
Yeah,
what do the meters say? What do the meters say?
Yeah. Or, I just hope it's not so hard that it's impossible. Like, I really do like a good challenge. I like something that can be done, but I don't want it to be to the point where it's tuned so tightly that if you make one misstep in the entire thing, then you're done, because that's no fun. Yeah. Like, you got to be able to make mistakes throughout the entire fight and recover from them, and work together as a team to kind of do that to make it fun. So, well,
here's my question. No, I totally agree with you, and that's why I think our group is going to have a blast trying to knock down these raids.
Right.
I have 2 questions. Number 1, do you know how large the groups are going to be?
10.
And so it is going to be, is it just a set cap at 10?
Set cap 10. No
so you have
flex.
to have 10. There's no flex. Yeah. Okay. And then number 2, my second question is, I forgot.
It's because me. I'm sorry.
Well, then it's
Taz.
10. 10 is your answer then.
Oh, no, I had another.
Were you going to ask
really
about
important.
composition, maybe?
No.
Composition?
Because the Trinity doesn't makes it so it doesn't really matter.
Although healing might matter because of the introduction of the druid.
I remember now. So my question is agony going to play into it?
No.
Only fractals.
Only fractals.
Not raids.
Okay.
Right. All right. And I still, one of the things that has come up on other shows that I've listened to too is since the expansion, the dungeons have kind of getting the old kind of heave ho, kind of like, not to say ignoring, which makes me wonder, and you know how I am. Militus knows that I like to put on the hat and pretend I can see the future, and sometimes I'm right. And so I'm just wondering, because they haven't given a lot of attention to the dungeons, I don't think they're just trying to get rid of them. It's not really the speed of this game to just get rid of content. They want you to play the whole world after it's been done. They don't want dead things like in the world. So I'm kind of wondering if there's not going to be kind of a future patch or a future update that's going to sort of reinvent those dungeons as well. I'm hoping 5-man dungeons are a thing as well, because just like in World of Warcraft, when we played Wrath of the Lich King, 5-man dungeons were a lot of fun. I really played a lot of 5-man stuff. And so I appreciate the rating at 10-man, and I appreciate its challenge, and I appreciate all that stuff, but I would like to also be able to run dungeons, because that's just, I like that. I like finding something really cool about 5 people playing. It's just
well, keep
cool.
in mind, and this is for us, but we haven't even kicked explorable mode.
Right.
We have a lot of content that we haven't gone through yet. So again,
And it's
listeners,
so good,
come
by the
join
way.
us.
It is so good. There's that Ghostbusters thing that we were doing that night, and
Oh,
I was
man,
just
that
like,
was
Oh
so
my
much
God,
fun.
that Ghostbusters thing was driving me nuts.
this is probably one of the coolest game mechanics I've seen in a game. It was just so amazing, and that's the same experience I'm having, by the way, as we travel to zones in this new expansion. And last night we got to play, and we just went running through zones.
Not all of us.
And yeah, not all of us, sadly. And then, by the way, Militus.
Sorry, some of us were raging and had to take a. But hey, look, there is a degree of value in knowing when you reach an emotional point where you need to pull yourself away from a game, because you want to come back and play it again, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you just got to back away.
But I'm still going to give
then
you so
Tess
much
left.
crap.
I know.
So
I know,
Tess
I
didn't even
deserve
stick
it.
it for the
You
whole time.
played for exactly 5 seconds after I left.
No,
I
we
will
played.
fight you.
We played for hours. So Zoldrup and I went around. We got to 2 brand new things I didn't even know were in the game. It was actually there. I don't want to spoil it, but it's
You're a big liar.
so fantastic in these zones. Like this has spoiled, by the way, zones for me in any other game. And I think the only thing I've experienced in all of my gaming so far that can even compete with this is down here where I live in Utah, there is a thing called the Void. And the Void is a virtual reality center. They took a warehouse and they give you virtual reality goggles. And you put the virtual reality goggles on, but the actual warehouse itself is part of the experience. So you're walking through this world and it looks like a video game world and you feel like you're in it. But I'm walking in it and I'm really walking and I'm grabbing things that are really in my hand. And when I look at them, they're really there, like a gun or a torch in this one that I did. And you're experiencing that. It's just got this wow and wonder to it. And when I walked into the first couple zones of this expansion, I had that wow and wonderment. And I was just like, this is really the bar that is set now for all MMOs, in my opinion, for level design. I mean, kudos to these guys for just designing the very best and coolest video game levels ever. My only thing, if ever anybody listens, by the way, and if anybody from any kind of ArenaNet or anything is listening, please combine the virtual reality with your worlds, because I want to be inside of that world so bad. It would be so
until you
cool.
run into a Dickosaurus.
Yes. We didn't even get to the Dickosaurus yet.
Oh no. Sorry. Is that a thing?
My gosh. You know, there's this dinosaur, Militus. Have you run into it yet? And it's like
it rolls sideways.
Yeah, it rolls sideways and it looks like it's got a shovel tail. Yeah. They call it a shovel.
Is it at the top of where you dropped off by one of the helicopters? Yeah. There's like one close by there.
They're in that zone. Yeah. They're around. They're
it's
kind
an elite.
Of
it's like a champion or elite that you fight.
They're veterans. Like even the veteran is a dick.
And we call him the.
But I know the mechanics.
Yeah, sorry, I may have to bleep all this out. But even the veteran, like I don't know another word for it, so I apologize if there's any youngsters listening. But this guy is he's just, and so that's what we named it last night. We named it a Dickosaurus because you can't be in front of it, you can't be the side of it, and it just beats you.
You can't be behind it.
Yeah, you can't be behind it.
There's no safe spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what we renamed it, and but it's just fantastic, and there's a cool thing that Ruby, Brian, and Ronald from ArenaNet, they just did a thing where they talked about jungle creatures in the Guild Wars 2 chat. If you don't subscribe to that, go and subscribe to the Twitch channel for Guild Wars, the official one. You get little notifications on your phone that tell you when the chat is going on or when they do talks, but they bring a lot of the developers on there and they have talks with them, and you really they get into depth about how they design some of this stuff. And in this one, they talked about how they actually make these creatures, and they use these wireframes from other creatures, and they kind of like, I don't know, they had a better term for it, but they build it off of that platform and they kind of expand on it. And the other one that gets me, by the way, besides that cool mean dinosaur, is the pocket AoE raptors. Those little guys, little pocket raptors.
Guys that
they just come like and they swarm you. And if you don't, I call them AoE raptors, because if you don't have an AoE, you're dead, because you need to AoE those bad boys.
That's what they do. They just, or even, no, you know what the worst one is? The worst one is the little, it starts with an S and I can't remember what it's called, but it goes like, and it like disappears.
Oh yes, that disappearing.
The disappearing guy that just goes
so fantastic,
and just shows up like in 14 different spots. It's horrible.
It's so crazy. Like, but that's what's interesting about it. Even just playing this game and being in the zones is super challenging. It's super challenging, and I kind of want to segue, if it's okay, from that to something I posted. We have been a part of a Facebook group for a while called the Guild War II's Casuals. So we have the dirty casuals that we play with, and then we're part of the Guild Wars 2 casuals. Anyway, in that private group, by the way, which is a really great group of people because it's just the Guild Wars 2 people. They're just awesome. I kind of posed the question in a thread that I didn't think would get any response at all, but I was really just like, is hot too hard? Is Heart of Thorns too hard? Because when you solo and you just run around that world, you can die a lot. And that's not usual for an MMO. Like, usually you just go around and kill all this stuff. Yeah, at least repairs are free, right? So we pose that question. I want to ask you guys, before I get to the results, like, what do you guys think as far as your limited? I mean, we haven't spent a lot of time in it yet, but what are you guys thinking?
I think that as of this moment, as of Veterans Day of 2015, no, it's not too hard. I think that as the expansion continues and zones get unpopulated, yes, I think it will be too hard. I think they're gonna have to scale it a little bit. Like, for example, when I first got out into the Verdant Brink, I mean, there was 40 million people there, so it was relatively easy to navigate. You get through it. Yeah. And you could always find an event. I mean, there was always a huge group of people that was running events, and you were never really alone. I'm a completionist, so I really didn't want to leave Verdant Brink to go to a new area until I completed Verdant Brink, and that meant getting gliding and updrafts. Mm-hmm. And so getting the last third of my bar up for gliding took me forever, because I kind of ran out of people. Like, every time I would log in, every night it got a little, there were a few less. So I'm just thinking ahead. Right. I'm thinking
they get spread out into all the other zones. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm just thinking, like, future running alts through there and trying to get to everything is going to be really difficult once everyone is just in that last zone. You won't run into as many things. So I think in the future they're going to have to scale it back just a little, just so that you can get through areas. Right. But at this moment, no, I don't think it's too hard. It's definitely challenging, right, and it's not easy, but I don't think it's too hard. What do you think, Militus?
What do you think, Militus?
Well, I guess I have to preface everything I'm about to say and with that I just haven't spent a lot of time in Maguma. I've spent more time. I should have done this before HOTS launch. I should have been working through Living World Season 2 prior, but right. Because I'm a story nerd, I want to know what all this stuff means precisely. So I want the gap in story between Tyria and Zaitan, and then Mordramoth, the main boss in Heart of Thorns. Right. So I've spent a lot of time there. So let me preface that. Okay, I'm going to say it's a bit too hard. I'm going to agree with you, Tess, 100% with everything you said. And I think it's going to get more and more difficult the more spread out the community gets in the zones. But I would say this about that also. I think not just granting gliding immediately was sort of a mistake. Not updrafts, but I think the moment you step in that zone, you should have been given the ability to glide. Right. Because when I get in the zone for the first time and I see people gliding, I see hero points and I see mastery points, and I can't get to them because I can't glide. And I believe there are some points you cannot get to in that zone. I think there's one. I think it's Hero
Well, there's
Point.
like
You
two
have
or
to have
three
updraft.
underneath. Yeah.
There's so
to get
many
to,
things that you have to
period.
get
Well,
to.
there
yeah,
are
right.
updraft ones, and that one's okay. But I know what
There's
you're talking about.
mushroom ones,
There's like
updraft
3 of them
ones,
down low that you have to have gliding to get to them
Right, to
because
get
you have
to.
to be able to put on the brakes. You can jump down, but you got to put on the brakes and be able to get over.
You gotta,
it. Yeah.
you gotta give them kudos though, because we talk about like gates to content in MMOs, and they're so frowned upon. Like they're looked upon as like the great evil because we don't ever want to say the G word, grind, right? We never want to say that. And I actually don't think that grind is a negative term for MMOs. Like some of the things I like to do in MMOs is grind out stuff. So I was the guy that would go kill a couple extra boars to get a couple extra XP when I was playing, because I was like, I'm just going to go grind that level out as opposed to going and doing that hard thing. And I liked it because it was like a freedom. And I feel like that's kind of what some of those gates are, is they're kind of like, you need to go and kind of do a couple more things and get a couple more things in the area.
I will say this
before you do
I'm
it.
sorry,
Just a
getting
gate,
the updrafts, I can't say it.
Go ahead. Why don't you try that again?
Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
Draft.
There you go. There you go.
Was rough on me, and I don't know why. It was I just get in that last quarter of the bar. Like it took me like 3 nights to get that last quarter of a bar.
It's weird
Like
because I just had
alternatively,
it.
what if they did what I proposed? What if they just gave you gliding from the very get go, and then
I
put
was
the
just
updraft at the point where we got our gliding?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Like you.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind working towards a goal. I don't want it to sound, which is I think what a lot of MMOers, especially younger MMOers, are like. I don't want to work towards a goal. I just give it to me. I don't mind working towards a goal, but the first time in the entire game that I felt like I was grinding was that last little tiny bit. I was like killing anything I could find. I was like, where's the next event? I need to find an event to do. I need, so it was just one of those things. It was just that last little bit. So I'm with you, Milla. I don't know.
See, I felt lucky then because
I'm right in the middle of the two of you.
Yeah, because I felt kind of lucky. I hopped in. I just did some events. I had so much fun doing the events. Before I knew it, I was like, oh, I've got to train this thing. Like, I wasn't even really paying attention to it. I just was like, I don't know. I was just mindlessly going through the world like, do. Oh, there's something to do over here. And I was like, yeah, I'm
updraft that way?
I'm
Wow.
even past that. I have the lore stuff now for the next zone, and I've got stuff. And I'm not really playing that much. It just sort of, for me, I really had to be a part of the events. So you really have to look at the map and the daytime, nighttime thing, and all the stuff's happening, and you have to really focus on that.
Realized is that each different type of mastery. So you have your gliding, you have the mushrooms, you have the markings, you have all the 4 different kind of trees, if you would say.
Right.
They are not one then another and then another. So it's not like gliding 1, gliding 2, gliding 3, and blah blah blah, and then all of the others. Each one, the first level of it isn't hard to get. Each one, the first level is like this much, and then the second level is this much, and then the third level is this much. Because that's what I was noticing after I felt like I was grinding out that much, the last little bit of that updraft. I jumped over to the other world, to another zone, and bam, I got my, exalted markings, like that. It took no time because I needed like half as much experience to fill that bar up.
And if you had played with us last night, you got even more stuff because we went to even more. We went to even more zones.
Come through this television, and I will kill you.
And it was really
Just saying.
It was really good.
I would probably have them updraft since I just ran with you guys last night.
Yeah.
So.
Right. And
I will say I
agree with you though.
Insane mastery points in old world
Yeah,
Tyria because
I'm like leveling all that stuff. Yeah.
I have I think I'm like
points.
mastery. No, I have more. I think I have
you
13
get 12.
mastery. I think I have
get 12
13 or
just from
14
going.
mastery.
Yeah, you get 12 just from going through basically,
that's
the
important
basic
because
story,
there's
and then you get like another
stuff,
8 from doing the living world.
That's what's funny is they didn't leave out people. They if you like the old world and you're still playing or you're still leveling up, you're still making progress. It's really just I don't know. It's so great. Like here's another thing, and I know we're already done with our Zen moment, which I see once again, I go to push something, it doesn't work. I had the perfect opportunity there to just be like, my Zen moment. But I was,
God, we got to change that.
No, it's awesome. We have to keep it.
But so there's this one event, and I don't know which one it is, but I was just, again, mindlessly following, and all of a sudden I found an event, and I got involved, and I was having fun, and all of a sudden there's a helicopter, and I take the helicopter, and it takes me to the very, very top of the zone, and there is a smaller platform with a dragon on it, or wyvern. And I'm up there, and you fight it, and all of a sudden the entire platform becomes molten. You can't be on it. And it took me one time of dying to realize, I have to jump off and glide. And so the thing becomes molten. You jump off and glide, and you have to hop from thing to thing to thing until the
updraft? You hop to updraft?
So you're hopping from updraft to updraft, and then you have to land on the side of the rock, the side of the mountain, and you have to kill some things that come around, some ads. Cool. And then once the ads are down, you go back out and you glide again through the updrafts, and then you land back up at the top, and you go back to, and I'm just sitting there going, this is genius. This is absolute genius. This is so much fun. And I was smiling so much it hurt, and I was just having a blast, and I didn't know. Really, I wasn't even thinking about experience or what I was getting next. But I do think you're right, Militus, in the sense that the key of this new expansion for me has been the gliding and the updrafts, and those things add to the game so much that without them, it's hard. All of the other things I think I could do without. But yeah.
And I think for people who are listening to this, because I know we will have some listeners who don't play Guild Wars 2, you think of old world Tyria, you think of other MMOs as just, very flat. I mean, you have some mountains and you have some paths that move up and down. But this design of the new expansion has true verticality, where you have multiple layers to a zone. Yeah. I've never played anything like it in my life.
Where you're standing on top, you're like, there's supposed to be a boss here? Where is it?
Oh, he's 8 stories up.
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, yeah.
And so you need the gliding, you need the updraft to gain access to some of the content, or you need to be really intimately familiar with the map to navigate around. One of the things I was talking with Boom the other day is I love hearts. Hearts in the old world are like quests.
I miss hearts.
There are no hearts in Heart of Thorns. Interesting. No. That's ironic, right? Yeah. There are no hearts in Heart of Thorn.
Well,
there are no more hearts.
It's like Silver Wastes.
Right.
There's just events. There are no hearts. And this is what maybe I'm crazy, but that's what I'm thinking. Maybe is a good thing to add. Maybe they don't need to make it easier as time goes on. Maybe they just need to add hearts, because if you add some hearts, then that gives you an easier way, other than trying to grind out, because if you don't have people to run events, how are you going to gain experience? So maybe hearts is the path that they're going to take.
But Boom was mentioning this. Hearts are good for one time.
Right.
You can't repeat hearts?
You fill them up.
I don't think so. You can help someone.
You can do them. You can do them over and over again.
But you can do them all on multiple alts.
Right.
Sure.
Right. But yeah, you do them one time.
Since masteries are account wide, at least it would give your
again to kind of be the devil's advocate here. I actually kind of like the way they have it. I agree with you, Tess, in the sense that I feel. I struggle for sure if there's only me or another person trying to do the event, and
that's what we noticed. I think, or was it you and me, Mila, that we were running, and it was just the two of us. And we're like, well, we can't even do it just with two of us.
Yeah, I think it was you and Boom.
There was a couple things where I was like, this is pretty tough. This is pretty tough. And now, when I posted this, by the way, in the Guild War Casuals on Facebook. Overwhelmingly people said absolutely not. It's tuned exactly right. Like, it was not even, there wasn't anybody even that said that maybe it needs to be a little different. Everybody there was like, it's just the right place. And these are people that have played a lot. So, I kind of take their
don't
word
gloss
for it.
over that comment.
Well,
I mean, what you just said, I think carries some weight.
It does.
People have been playing this game 3 years.
True.
Okay. I have 0 pieces of Ascended crafted gear.
Right.
Most people have been playing this game for 3 years, have a full set, take it back, multiple sets of Ascended gear. And so I think it's tuned around that.
Yeah.
And so if you go there
could be
wearing anything less, I think it's tough for you.
Yeah, you definitely at least have to.
And again,
be
this is from a guy that's been playing for a few, 4 or 5 months into the game. So
yeah, no,
but you're so adorable. Look how cute you are.
Yeah, I'm adorable when I'm laying like this, dead on the ground all the time in HOTS.
Whatever, you never die. No, Boom and I are always dead, and you're always like, I'll get you up. No worries.
My
no
favorite
worries.
thing is when we play with Zolderp. Zolderp is like, he just follows me around and picks me up. Like, I'm just dead, and Zolderp just comes over and picks me up. And Zolderp, he doesn't ever let on, but he's actually the best at this game. I mean, he is
really good.
He can just kill everything, and he'll just be like, "Oh, I didn't see you there on the ground," and then he just comes and lifts me up, and then I tell you, last night when we were playing, I would die like 2 seconds after. Like, he would pick me up, and I would just die. Like, I didn't even have time to double jump out of the hot, whatever it is. And then I die again, and he would just chuckle and then lift me up again. And I don't know how many times he rezzed me, and it was funny. And the same thing, like after Tess left, I was doing another little area, and it must have been 10 times that I was laying on the side dead. And he's just like, he never was like, hey, don't stand in that, or hey, he just was so kind to just always come up and just be like, here you go.
Dying in this game with a group of people doesn't feel the same way to me as other MMOs at all. Like, I never feel like, damn it. I never feel like, damn. Because I never have to sit there and just watch everyone else fight. Someone usually comes over and like, hey, I'll get you up, Milla. You come up, you're in your down state. We'll
even
res
strangers.
You.
Complete strangers like take time out of what they're doing to stop and res you, and
you're going to get the opportunity as well. That's what's cool about it. You know that at some point I'm going to res somebody, so it's just this mutual thing, and it's just a really
and
good
everyone
system.
always says thank you, and
it's very kind.
And it's probably Boom. My perceptions again. That's why I preface what I was going to say to you guys. It's probably because, I mean, let's be honest. There is a distinct difference between old world Tyria and this new area.
Yes.
I mean, there's no question.
No,
the mob density is a lot greater.
3 years was
a lot
very good
harder.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. And so if I'm spending most of my time there and then I jump over to HOTS, to Maguma, it does feel hard to me, but it's probably because I just haven't spent enough time there. Yeah. Once I spend more time there, it'll be better.
Well, and I will say this again for first time people that are just jumping in. So until you get gliding, it feels impossible. It feels impossible because you have no way kind of around some of that density. The moment you get gliding, and you'll get it very quickly. It's not like, it's not a grind fest. But the moment you get that.
Oh, sorry. What was that? I hit the wrong one. That's the worst part is I hit the wrong one. There it is. There it is. Now I'm feeling it. There it is. There we go.
It's so loud on my headphones.
Sorry. I had to do that.
It like burst my eardrums.
Those of you who have never heard our other show, at some point in every podcast, when Tess starts to talk about something, I hit her with the goal horn, just to interrupt her train of thought.
And so he's trained me not to talk. You're a jerk, and I hate you. I wish I could swear at you right now. You have no idea. You just wait. I know where you live.
We didn't mention, by the way, that we're all wearing our Star Wars shirts. And mine is an AT-AT Walker, and it's kind of funny because in the reverse view of the stream here, it says Tata. So it's if you're watching this, it is an AT-AT Walker, not a Tata Walker. That's a whole different evening. All right.
Oh, the Millennium Falcon.
There you go.
I have the X-Wing fighter.
I know, I like it. I like all of the Star Wars shirts. We got the Star Wars
Hey,
stuff.
I have a prediction. I think
starting to
over the
come.
next several weeks, we get more and more of a nerd arousal level for Star Wars. Like it's just gonna be like every week we record, it's gonna be more and more arousal of Star Wars.
I know
you
it's gonna get there. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Oh, Star Wars.
Well, yeah, there probably will be some of that stuff, but I just wanted to first of all be super thankful for you guys and doing this show. I'm getting all teary-eyed. I'm not really.
Oh,
But no, I'm super excited. No, I'm really excited about this because I've been having more fun doing this game in the last few months than I've had in a lot of my other gaming, because I was known as the guy who played all the different MMOs because I couldn't find one to kind of that stuck with me for a while, and this one really has. So really excited to do that. I wanted to just again toss out a shout out and say if you need to hear us, go to our Facebook. We're gonna post the podcast there. We'll have them up on the website. Give us a call, get involved and engaged in the podcast. And again, like I said, we're looking for people that want to join in, help the community out in lots of different ways. So if you have any talents or anything you'd like to bring to the table, we want you to be a part and do all that. We were part of a very big guild that was part of the Wild Star Nation guild, and it was really fun to see that thing kind of assemble and grow, and it gives us a lot of great stories and things to talk about, and you get a lot of really neat interesting people that come on and participate and are playing stuff with you. So we want you to kind of come in and do that. So come be a part of our guild. If you don't have a guild, come on and join up with the PrecursorCast guild. And
because we're running it all new. We're gonna go get a guild hall, and it's all fresh.
And we are on. I know this is not important for guild functions, but we are on what server?
Stormbluff Isle,
right?
Yeah.
If you want to do, and we're not huge into World v World yet. But I definitely want to try it. I know World v World's down a little bit right now because everyone's so involved in the PvE aspects of the game. But eventually that's going to come back, and I can't wait to try it. So
and I'm
if you're going to join the guild,
PvP.
Make sure you're on Stormbuff Isle if you want to do World v World. But other than that, every single thing we do, you can be on any server and join us and have fun.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm all about the PvP. Tess is about the PvP. We like to go and do that. In fact, I do that every single day. So that's like my main go-to in this game because it's awesome, and we'll talk about that in future podcasts as we kind of go. The other thing, Militus, there's some other podcasts out there. Can you just give them a shout out? I know we kind of mentioned them again, but what are some of the podcasts that other people should be listening to besides us if they play Guild Wars?
Well, there are two that I listen to every single week. And the first one is Guild Wars Reporter, which is part of the MMO Reporter Network. And they're a great network, by the way. I like a lot of their shows. And Bill, MMO Bill, from the show there, runs with us on occasion, is actually in our guild. But Guild Wars Reporter, Alona, and her cast, they do a great job. They're real laid back and fun and interesting. They've been in the game since day one and even in the first Guild Wars. So if you want that kind of real laid back lore perspective, they do a great job of presenting that. And then Relics of Ore is another great podcast, and they're more of the theory crafting, technical aspects, very detail oriented podcast. They're my go-to to learn about builds and how to play World v World and things like that. But both of those are wonderful casts. So make sure you give them a listen for sure.
Well, that is great. We didn't get through everything that we wanted to get through this week, but we have a lot of future weeks in us, and there's a lot of great and awesome gaming coming this future weeks here. And my wife is up here. She's probably she's interrupting again, and she's poking. See.
Oh, I see the hand.
Yes.
Hello, Tia. How are you?
She's already done this, by the way, now in this show, and she used to kind of sneak back behind me in the other show, and I'd just be like, what? I'm like, what? Yeah. I've never felt
Get
more
outta
like a
here,
teenager in my
Mom.
own house. Yeah. It's like, I feel like, everybody's like, get out of here, man. Okay. But come and join us. We're going to do this every Wednesday, 10 Eastern. That is 8 Mountain. It's something on the West Coast, like 7
Pacific.
Yeah, something like that. So come do that. There's probably somebody can convert it to Greenwich Mean, I'm sure, for me. But we would love to have you join us in the Twitch chat. That would be awesome for us. So come and join us because we usually tease you if you are in Twitch chat.
Yes.
So come and join us in
Like,
Twitch
like
chat.
Percy, that's making fun of my weenie little vape cloud. So sorry.
There you go. Well, here I gotta here. Well,
Here,
we'll just,
yeah,
you know.
Boom will take care of it.
There, I did a bear.
You guys and your vaping habits. I'm gonna have to talk to you about that at some point.
All right. Well, and on that note, we are out.
See you guys. Go kill.